Niger State Police Command confirms another abduction of unspecified number of students from St. Mary's Catholic Secondary School, Papiri, in Agwara local government area of Niger State. Court sentences Nnamdi Kanu to life imprisonment. National Assembly Joint Committee considers creating a separate body for local government elections. And President Donald Trump's decision to redesignate Nigeria as a country of particular concern under review, the U.S. House of Representatives Subcommittee on Africa. We have these and more on our lineup. I'm Fisao Ogunfi. This Police School Update. Welcome. An unspecified number of students from St. Mary's Catholic Secondary School, Papiri, in Agwara local government area of Niger State have been kidnapped by bandits in the early hours of today, that is Friday. Mukhtar Wowo earlier spoke with the Niger State Police Public Relations Officer Wasiu Abiodun, who confirmed the unfolding sad development.
As regard to the incident of kidnapping that's said to happen early hour of today, with me here is the PPRO, Niger State Police Command, who is going to tell us more as regard to the incident. Sir, can you tell us what exactly happened this morning at the school?
Thank you very much. We woke up this morning and got a report of an abduction in one of our schools in Niger State, specifically St. Mary's Private Catholic Secondary School in Papiri, in Agwara local government area of the state. The report indicated that today, being 21st November 2025, Friday, around 2 a.m., early hour of the day, some numbers of bandits invaded the school and abducted a yet to be ascertained number of students from the hostel. However, the commanders have deployed a police tactical unit. Even as I speak with you, military components are also on ground there. With other security agencies, it's a collaborative effort, the DSS and other agencies. We are working together to see what can be done to rescue these children. We are combing the neighboring forest and other area that we need to touch on. And the commander is appealing to the members of the public to remain calm, as all effort is on top there to ensure that these children are rescued. However, what is also very sad is that despite the state government directive on closure of school in that area as a result of security challenges in the area, but we got to know that this very school continue to run academic activities contrary to the government directive to ensure that schools are closed in that area because of the security situations we are having around Borogo and Agwara local government. However, the deployments are there. We need to ensure that the children are safe first before further necessary investigative action are taken against the school management.
We'll keep you updated as we get more information.
Thank you, Mukhtar. You two also try and keep safe as you try to get us information from that axis. Now, the leader of the indigenous peoples of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, has been convicted and sentenced to life imprisonment for engaging in acts of terrorism. Justice James Omotosho gave the verdict in the absence of the convict, who was led out of court for disrupting the proceedings.
The court found Nnamdi Kanu guilty, convicts and sentenced him to life imprisonment on count 1, 2, 4, and 5 of the 7 counts bordering on acts of terrorism punishable under the Terrorism Prohibition and Prevention Act of 2022 as amended. Nnamdi Kanu was sentenced to 20 and 5 years without fine in other counts. The court ordered that he should be kept in a safe correctional center in any part of the country, deny access to electronic gadgets, and have his radio transmitter forfeited to the federal government. Relying on the evidence of the prosecution, since the convict failed to enter his defense, the judge said the prosecution has proved that the convict is an international terrorist, going by his actions, insightful comments on radio broadcasts, hatred for the Nigerian state, and even the people he claimed to be defending. The court held that his engagement in guerrilla warfare led to the death of several innocent people, including the former special advisor to Goodluck Jonathan, Ahmed Gulag, several security personnel, destruction of more than 160 police stations, 9 INEC offices across the country. The court, chronicling the evidence of the prosecution, held that the video and audio evidence proved that Nnamdi Kanu was not in any way agitating for self-determination, but merely terrorizing people, including the Igbos, having denied them opportunities to carry out their lawful economic activities. Justice Omotosho said he cannot hide under a repeal law and unlawful rendition to evade justice, as the amended Terrorism Act 2022 stipulates that all pending proceedings, punishment under the repeal law may be taken, while the unlawful rendition which the convict laid claim to is of no effect, having been arraigned in a court in Nigeria before he jumped bail and rearrested in Kenya. The court held that Nigeria remains an indivisible entity, hence any section agitating for self-determination must follow the laid-down processes.
Moving on to other issues now, democracy must go beyond elections and focus more on the ideals, strong legislations and good governance. This was the position of eminent personalities at former President Goodluck Jonathan's Foundation's 10th anniversary celebrations held in Abuja.
Our democracy stands because of people like former President Goodluck Jonathan. People who believe that the Nigerian state is bigger than any individual. People who understand that the state is greater than all of us and must therefore be protected with courage, with respect, and with patriotism.
We must change the face of politics. We must see politics as a business of responsible individuals.
President Goodluck Jonathan believes in proper management of transitions through effective mediation to ensure their success.
He is a teacher of democracy. He practices democracy. Everything about him is democratic.
The challenges facing our continent ahead are great and demand bold ideas and collaborative action. But we at the Goodluck Jonathan Foundation, so is our capacity to meet them.
All right, let's go to our political talk. Joining us in the studio is Senator Smart Adeyemi, a former lawmaker who represented Kogi West in the Senate. He was also a governorship aspirant in Kogi State in 2019. And of course, he's been in the political circle for so long, but for some reasons, we've not seen him for a while now. Let's welcome you, first of all, Senator. You are also of this constituency, having cut your teeth as a senior member of the press as well. Thank you and welcome to Political Update.
Thank you for inviting me. It's my pleasure.
All right, let's start, with current situations we've seen around the country, the state of insecurity in the country, which has heightened tension in the country. Is this something, based on your experience, that could be, perhaps, assuaged or solved by some serious pieces of legislation, for instance, in directing action towards crushing outlaws?
Well, all the laws that needed for these ugly situations are already in place. What is happening to Nigeria today didn't start today. The issue of killings and mass killing, for that matter, started a long time ago, about 20 years ago. You see, Nigeria is such a large country that people don't bother to find out what is happening across the country. I recalled in 1998 when I was still in the NUJ, then I was still vice president. I ran into some bandits between Al-Kaleri and one other village. And at that time, if you ask the people from the northeast, they call them Konta people, because when they rush, when you are attacked, they will ask you, Kakonta. Now, these people were the people who now graduated. So it's up to 20 years. And I can tell you that you can do your investigation from the security service. They are quite aware that they were a kind of a terrorist group in the country. But you see, when we failed to do what we needed to do at the time that is just graduating, this problem started a long time ago. And I recall that on several occasions, I had cause to speak about how porous our borders are. In the Senate, I once proposed the fencing of our borders line. And some people thought I didn't know what I was saying. And I said that will create job for opportunity. We have limestone, we have cement. Let us embark on it. It will take a decade or two to fence the whole of Nigeria boundary. I think it's something that is worthwhile. Today, you can't count the number of porous openings, which those who are not even Nigerians, they come in and they perpetrate crime and they are out of the country. So it's not a new thing today. And if you talk about legislation, the legislation is there. I think it has to do with those behind the bandits. These people are not educated, but you see them, they operate AK-47, and you see them with new ammunitions. That should bother Nigerians. That speaks volumes that these bandits you call bandits, they are well trained. Okay, so and I've seen on air, I mean on the internet, how helicopters drop ammunitions for these bandits. So Nigeria is not fighting the people you are seeing. It is a kind of international conspiracy to destabilize Nigeria and to bring Nigeria down. There are nations who fears Nigeria. They once predicted that Nigeria would disintegrate, but we are still standing stronger. So for me, what is happening is not just a war by Nigerians with some group of Nigerians. It is a war that is being sponsored, that is being backed by the developed nations. You know, the Yoruba says, in that sense, you cannot say you want to worship the goddesses, the god of the god of the river, without touching the lily. So these people you are seeing, who are the people supporting them? How are they getting the funding? Okay, yes, they may have some agents in Nigeria, but if you look at their move and the way they operate tactically, you can see they've had some military training. Okay, so Nigeria should be courageous enough to let the world get to know, especially the developed nations, that they are the ones destabilizing Nigeria. These people, who are the people destabilizing them? Which African country has the capacity to supply ammunition to these people? Tell me, which African country? So what I'm saying in essence is that we should ask the developed nations, what do they want of Nigeria? What we are seeing is beyond the African continent. These people you are seeing, they are being funded outside Nigeria. And the African nation, in fact, United Nations, could come into it and investigate and get where these people are being empowered. So for me, it is not about law. It's about the fact that we are faced with a big task.
All right, let's move on also to the political terrain. Of course, a lot of people have also latched on to this and all that. But a lot of people have also called for concerted effort. This is not the time for politics or political speak in terms of supporting government to make sure that we get to the root of this matter.
Well, I do know that under this government, 6 weeks ago, or about 2 months ago, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government ordered for ammunitions to further strengthen the armed forces, and they set aside, I think, about $500 million for that. I was taken aback when I heard about the U.S. talking about coming to Nigeria to see how they can help us. But I think that what this government did about 2 months ago to order for arms and ammunition that will help armed forces is one major step, which I think it will help the armed forces to be able to confront the invaders. But having said this, we must not forget the fact that the U.S. Under President Trump did say they want to intervene in the killings in Nigeria, and they made mention of genocide. You want to go further?
No, okay. We will still go there. We will still go there. I wanted to see if we could take one from your former constituency, the National Assembly. We understand, of course, is also considering creating another body to be saddled with, the mandate of conducting local government council elections in the country. The Joint Committee on Electoral Matters at a round table says it is crossing the T's and dotting the I's in the Electoral Act Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2025, which seeks to transform the electoral process for efficiency. After that, we'll come and look at the political terrain in total.
For over a year now, the Senate and House of Representatives Joint Committee on Electoral Matters, in an effort to bridge identified gaps in Nigeria's electoral system, embarked on a series of stakeholder engagements to restore trust and build confidence.
Reviewing and amending the Electoral Act to go in conformity with the Constitution.
This technical meeting, which continued behind closed doors, is to conduct a final check on the proposed areas of amendments before presentation of the bill in both chambers for passage and subsequent transmission to the President for assent. The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Joash Amupitan, was also in attendance.
Electoral amendments that sometimes will come up so as to be able to look at the mistakes of the past and be able to put things in a proper perspective so that we'll have a better election.
It is an opportunity to demonstrate our commitment to the rule of law, to fairness, and to a level playing field for all political actors. Let us be guided by the fundamental goal of ensuring that our electoral system is free from manipulation, fraud, and undue influence.
There was also the issue of replacement of voters' card and whether a downloadable voters' card was possible.
Nigerians are expecting because they believe good governance starts with good elections, and good elections start with good electoral act, and that's why we all have to put hands on deck.
The Joint Committee hopes the proposed amendments, such as concluding all litigation before swearing in and other changes to the election timeline, would enhance the process.
All right, well, before we go to the issue of Nigeria being a country of concern, I wanted to quickly come to your state. When I, spoke to one of my bosses talking about political update today, I said I would have Senator Smart at him. He said, "Where is he now?" And let me just ask that question: where are you now? The last time we had the conversation about 2 years ago, you were heading to the Supreme Court, and you had new friends and new foes and all that. But where are we as far as Smart Adeyemi is concerned in Kogi politics?
I never left the APC. To me, politics must equally be synonymous with morality. I do not believe in people abandoning their party for another party if the essence is to serve. So I have never left APC. There was no time I left the APC. What I did was to go and have some rest, okay? And I'm fully back on track, and I'm working hand in hand with my Governor Smadudu, under the leadership of our supreme political leader in Kogi, former Governor Yaya Dozabelo. So we are all back together, and we are making progress.
One would want to ask, people have said that there are no political enemies, only permanent interests and all that. How come? Because you would be confusing me if I take this and then just say, oh, that is the new situation. How did this new romance begin?
No, you recall that even when I was fighting the cause of the election then, there was no time I condemned the government of Kogi State because I was part and parcel of it. There was no time I pulled down the person of the governor, the former governor, because I work hand in hand with him. Yes, we had political disagreements, but you see, like one of the greatest political leaders that I grew up to read about, he came with a philosophy. The man, Malam Ibrahim, we call him the presidential candidate of GMPP, okay? He said politics without bitterness. So for me, politics must not be a situation where you have bitterness forever. When you disagree, it's not to pull down the house. We see how we can continue to make the house better. So I'm fully back. There was no time I left the APC, and I'm enjoying my relationship with both the new governor, who is a perfect gentleman and is building on the foundation he has made. He's doing more than before because there's more resources now to him, and the impact is felt about. Then we have the former governor, who is equally very much involved in our politics. He built people, he assisted quite a number of people, he touched lives, and that's...
Some might say that this new love for some of the, the push, based on the push and shove we had the last time,
yes,
is perhaps a philosophical case of if you can't beat them, you join them.
No, that's not the case. The fact is that, you see, when you are in a struggle and it didn't work, then you leave and look elsewhere. For me, I still believe in the APC. I believe it's my political party, and I don't think of abandoning the party. And more importantly, the former governor himself, he has been of assistance to me in time past. So if we have cause to disagree on one, I should always remember what he has done in time past. So I don't belong to those group of politicians who we want to fight to finish. You know, there's nothing. If the essence is to serve people, if it doesn't work, maybe if it is so destined, it could happen next time. But if it doesn't happen, the essence is that we want to make the society a better place. And I told my former governor, I said he's a very lucky leader. And he said, why? I said, you are lucky because despite that I was not anointed, the man you have given the support is doing very well. So there's no good leadership when there's no good successor. So he's lucky he had a good successor, and we're all working together, and Kogi is better for it.
All right, time is not our friend on the program, so as we go towards the last lap, the People's Redemption Party, PRP, has strongly condemned the statement by PDP's National Faction Chairman, Kabiru Turaki, calling on foreign powers to save Nigeria. From his internal crisis, the PRP labeled the remark as reckless, unpatriotic, and a sign of an inferiority complex that continues to plague some of Nigeria's so-called politicians. The PRP says that through its national chairman, Falalu Bello, in the statement stated that such a call was an affront to Nigeria's sovereignty and the patriots who have fought to uphold it. Falalu Bello pointed out that such a call also reflects a troubling failure to have confidence in Nigeria's inherent resilience, its democratic institutions, regardless of the general perception about them, and the collective strength of its people. The fifth principle of the PRP, he says, advocates total liberation from imperialism and enlightening that belief. Let's move on quickly to the next story. The U.S. Congress Subcommittee on Africa is reviewing President Donald Trump's decision to redesignate Nigeria as a country of particular concern due to an alleged religious persecution. The lawmakers say they are concerned about the alleged spate of killings by bandits and terrorists. More worrisome, they say, is that our government has not been able to fully tackle that challenge, according to the lawmakers over there.
On the issue we're discussing today, we would like to see more focus on that particular issue, in addition to addressing the larger security question that you referred to.
This is a complex problem. It's not one that can be addressed with one neat solution. There are, of course, like every human action, multiple drivers of this persecution, and there are multiple communities being affected, not just Christians, as you mentioned.
Addressing the country's complex security issues solely in religious terms and focusing on one group of victims is counterproductive. A fresh approach is needed both for Nigeria and the United States. Nigeria must tackle its institutional weaknesses in security, justice, and conflict prevention to effectively end the violence and hold perpetrators accountable.
All right, final word on the program. We've had Senator Smart Adeyemi. Just as time is not our friend, maybe you look at all these challenges. How do we quickly go forward? Some election cycle in another few months, we start with off-cycle elections. Yet we have this clear present danger that seems to be ramping up as well in terms of some of these acts of terrorism. Very quickly.
I think we have a large army of people who are unemployed, and I see that the government is responding to it by providing infrastructures that will help to galvanize the economy, open the opportunities for people to move around and do business. Two, I equally see the First Lady moving around the country, distributing palliatives to make life more meaningful for people. So unemployment, frustration leads people to crime. But when you talk about organized crime of this nature, it goes beyond the ordinary. Okay, we actually needed support from the developed nations. The support may come by material support, by military hardwares. They could do that. So we need their support. And I do know too that the federal government will be thinking of employing more soldiers, more people into the armed forces, so that we have enough that can move around. But more importantly is the fact that our boundaries are just porous. Okay, anybody can come in at any time. In fact, you do not know in some places whether some people are Nigerians or not. So what I'm saying in essence is that there's a need for us to restructure this country, to allow the state police to be fully operational, we must restructure Nigeria. And in doing restructuring, we must take into consideration norms and values and how the people
I think this is not a conversation that can end today. Senator Smart Adeyemi, you've given us some smart answers. We'll try and bring you back again now that you are out of retirement or you're out of rest. I mean, you're no longer resting. You are back in the political cycle. That has been Senator Smart Adeyemi for this today's edition of Political Update. Between now and when we come your way again, do play your politics for the greater good and keep it logged on Nigerian Television Authority for news, reviews, previews, and interviews. Bye-bye now.